Touchdown!
What a throw.
Ball comes out. Chuck Clark hurdles Phillip Rivers. Touchdown, Ravens!
Now Mahomes in motion, comes back to the ball. Caught! Touchdown!
A.J. Brown with play strength to spare. Touchdown! Titans!
The race is on! And it's loose! Touchdown!
Ball bounces around. That ball's
Oh, yes, that's no catch. Raiders win.
The Saints pick off Tom Brady for the third time tonight. The Saints continue to make it look easy. It's too easy.
Josh Allen, that only took one play to cash in on Tre'Davious White. Amazing interception. Eric Ebron over a man. He was Dumbo the flying elephant. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 8-0. Oh, man.
Welcome to Game Day View, everybody. I am Andrew Hawkins, joined as always by Cynthia Freeland and Greg Rosenthal. We are getting all set for today's slate of games, and we are starting off with a redemption game for the Buccaneers. The Bucs are at the Panthers, and the Bucs are favored in this one by 6.5. We're going to get right to picks here, and I'm going to start it off. Before I even ask you guys how you're doing, because we're getting right to business, Cynthia and Greg, okay? All right, so I'm going with the Bucs. And the reason being, I don't trust the Panthers' ability to protect Teddy Bridgewater, who has played pretty well when he's protected, but that has been the issue when they haven't played so well. Specifically, their first time against the Buccaneers. 5 sacks on Teddy, 15 pressures. That's a lot of pressure for any quarterback, let alone someone who's trying to find a rhythm without their star player, CMC. Cynthia, you tell me who you have and why.
Well, first of all, I want to double down on your Teddy Bridgewater comment because you're totally right. I just re-looked at all of it, and it was really, he's not so good against the blitz. And the Tampa Bay Bucs blitz the most in the NFL. So that's where all that pressure was coming from. So they're going to have to figure that one out. However, I only have a 4-point win for the Bucs in this one. I think this is a game where Tom Brady starts to redeem himself on deep passes. Since week 5, he's 3 of 28. That's a very low percentage on deep attempts. This is a situation where Tom Brady needs to kind of get those connections right. Perhaps it's an Antonio Brown situation. It's for sure a Chris Godwin situation. I definitely think in this one, you're going to see the return of the good Tom Brady. But I have to point out, they were stuck on a plane for a very long time yesterday. So that is makes things a little bit dicier.
Yeah, the model does not know what to do with the 7-hour plane delay, but neither does mine. I have the Buccaneers winning 33-28, very similar score to Cynthia. We're parking in the same garage. At the Panthers, they managed to keep it close each and every week, but I don't know if they'll necessarily win. You mentioned last time these two teams played, they forced Teddy Bridgewater into some mistakes, some sacks, some fumbles. If the Panthers turn the ball over, I do not trust them to end up winning this game, and I'm with you. I think Tom Brady gets back on track against a defense in Carolina that really doesn't rush the passer very well. Another division rematch in the NFC East. It's the Giants. We're going to proper performances. Right now, I did it again. Here she goes. It's a bit.
Let's be honest. It is now totally a bit. But Tom Brady will have more than 295 passing yards at the Panthers. I have 311 on the schedule for him. So for me, over 295. And second, on the other side of the ball, Robbie Anderson will have less than 72 receiving yards. Now, I think he's going to have a good game. I definitely think this is going to be an interesting matchup. However, 72 is too much. Curtis Samuel is going to vulture some of those from Robbie Anderson. Okay, now you can move on to the next game, Greg. Now.
No, let's just stick on that. Let's start Eagles. Giants. The Eagles are favored by 3.5. Remember, they won that close game just a few weeks ago. The Eagles, show us who you really are. Maybe out of a bye week, they're much healthier. They can play better against this Giants team, who has been running the ball better. They're a good power running team lately, but I have the Eagles winning by 4. So again, it's a 3.5 points that the Eagles are favored by. I think the Giants running game keeps it relatively close, but I do like Philadelphia to wind up winning this division pretty easy, so we don't have to worry about a 6-win team making the playoffs. What do you think, Cynthia?
So, excuse me, I have the Eagles winning this game, but I only have them winning by 3 points. That's one field goal. 24-21 in this matchup. Sure, we get Miles Sanders back. That is a big deal. And this O-line's back. And Carson Wentz will potentially have more options in the pass-catching game. However, the question mark still remains. Can they get it all together? They haven't been chemistry-wise really in sync. So even though there's a lot more people to potentially feed on this one, I think Miles Sanders is the way that they get a nice, slow, only 3-point win. What do you have, Hawk?
I love it. I'm going with the Eagles as well. I just think they're healthy enough now, and we're talking about a division where it seems like everyone was pushing the ball around saying, hey, somebody else take the lead. Well, now the Eagles are healthy. That's what we've talked about all year. Are we going to see a better Carson Wentz? Are we going to see this offense gel a little more? They're a lot more talented than the team they're playing against, in the Giants. But, again, people are coming back from the IR, coming back from the injured list. Is it going to gel the way we suspected early in the season? I think so, just based on the talent alone. So for that reason, going with the Eagles. All right, next game, we got the Texans at the Browns. The Browns are favored in this one by 4. Now, I'm going to start the picks here. You guys peer pressured me in my last show.
Yeah, we did.
To go with the Texans, and I'm sticking with it. My son told me as soon as we got off air, he watched the show live. He said, do you ever get sick of being wrong, Dad? He was very upset that I picked the Browns. I'm sticking with the Texans. I just feel like this has all the makings for a Browns loss. Unfortunately, I don't like the trajectory the Browns have taken. I felt like they should have walked away with the W against the Raiders. I know they'll have players back. I think it's going to take another week to really gel the way they were when they were riding high earlier in the season. Cynthia, what do you got?
Okay, so it's going to look like a 4-point win, 28-24, but I actually have a slightly more convincing win for the Browns. So you said it was 4. That's kind of seems like a right around, maybe a little bit more convincing. Why? Because of Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb being back makes a big difference in this lineup. The Texans give up a ton of rushing yards. But by the way, for fantasy purposes, if you need a running back and somehow Duke Johnson's available, you should totally take him in this matchup. No David Johnson means it's tons of Duke Johnson today.
Duke Johnson revenge game. I love it. I have the Browns winning by 2, 26-24. So I think it's close. I love that we Jedi mind tricked Hawk into flipping this pick because the weather's terrible there in Cleveland, and that really favors the run game. That's the Browns. So he's going to watch his Browns win this game, and he's going to just be annoyed that he flipped the pick. So to paraphrase Baby Hawk, do you ever get sick of being wrong? Do you ever get sick of forgetting to, send it to Cynthia for proper performances? I do, but not this time. Let's hear it.
Woo! You did it. All right. So Deshaun Watson will have more than 275 passing yards today. Yes, you said the weather is a concern, but for Deshaun Watson, 275 is like, a drop in the bucket. Next up, Nick Chubb will have more than 79 rushing yards. I told you that the Houston Texans give up all of the rushing yards. Well, they're going to give up all of the rushing yards to Nick Chubb, who it was reported in all of our reporters' notebooks. I think Ian Rappaport was where I last saw it, that Nick Chubb's going to get a heavy workload today, which means more opportunities for those 80 rush yards, which means it's going to happen, which means I actually think that Hawk is kind of doing it right because he's hedging his bets, right? He is literally picking against the team he likes. So he's happy either way, not sad. Happy.
There it is.
That's one way to think about it. Or you could think that you're not going to be fully happy at all. This is a popular topic here when the Lions come up for you, Cynthia, because it's Washington at Detroit today. And I know Detroit is favored by 3. They have not been favored too often this year, and I'm not taking them as a favorite. I'm taking Washington. I was impressed with what I saw out of Alex Smith for most of last week's game. I know he had the late interceptions, but I think he showed that the old Alex Smith is kind of coming back, that he can manage the game, and this is a perfect matchup against a Lions team that does not have much pass rush. Let's continue this great story. Washington gets a win. What do you think, Cynthia?
I don't think the Lions are going to win, but my model does. 27-21. Woof. Terry McLaurin, go put him in your lineup. Go take any running back against the Lions. We also know that's an area they're susceptible. I don't like to see it. I don't like to see and pick against it. But I'm going to tell you, the model says Terry McLaurin is going to have lots of yards because the game script is that the Washington football team is going to be playing from behind in the second quarter. What? I don't even like that, but I do like Terry McLaurin. I actually like Terry McLaurin a lot. So yes,
I got to get one of those models, Cynthia. So I can
gotta
do
make
it's
it.
not me that's
I'll teach
picking
you how to
against the Browns.
code. I'll teach you how to code.
It's the model. I need you to teach me how to code. It's going to be a real simple code. Just make it like Hawk hedging those bets. You use data analytics. I'm just trying to save face. That's the difference between our models. All right, I'm going with the Lions here as well. They're favored in this game. I do think they should win, even though Alex Smith has been playing extremely well. I just do feel like the Lions, these are one of those games where they get over the hump. And as I said earlier in the week, I'm excited to see Mohamed Sanu and Marvin Jones back in the same lineup, man. a little pressure to the heart pumper for me, man. It's old school. All right, we're back with more game day view in just a moment. Check out Carson Wentz getting those legs going. I feel even better about my pick now.
You know, it looks kind of chilly there. It doesn't look super warm. You know, good thing his legs are warm up. Used to it, North Dakota.
Yeah.
Back on Game Day View, it's time for Drive to Excellence, presented by Mercedes-Benz. Cynthia extended her lead last week after basically being the only NFL analyst to pick the Saints over the Bucs. Any chance I can get this week's lottery numbers, Miss Freeland? That was Drive to Excellence, presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Yes, I actually have an answer for her on that one, and it's the Bears. Keep going.
Ooh.
All right, okay. I don't like that you extended your lead on us. I do like that I was able to get a one-game lead back over Greg. So I'm hoping it hurts. That side of me is hoping the Texans pull it out. Anyway, we're going from Seahawks at Rams next. Rams are favored in this one by 2.5. Right to picks here. I'm going with the Seahawks. I think if the Seahawks can mitigate these Rams receivers just a little bit, it'll give the Seahawks a really good chance of walking away victorious. Now, I know that's a big if, especially the way they've been playing, but I feel like last week, the Seahawks, Russell Wilson, as many turnovers as he had, I don't think that's a trend that is going to continue for that reason. Sticking with the Seahawks, what do you got, Cynthia?
I have exactly the opposite, well, the same reason as you, but exactly the opposite of what the score is projected to be is what I have. I have a 2-point win for Seattle. That is one of my finest. That's why it's lit up in gold. Interesting thing on this one is that both quarterbacks have been turnover prone in the past few games. Remember the last outing we saw from Jared Goff? He turned the ball over 4 times as well. So the interesting part here will be who can figure out how to best the other one's defense. And of course, Jared Goff faces an easier defense in the Seattle Seahawks, who've given up all of the yards. But I think this might be the week where we see the Jamal Adams figure it out, the whole gelling of all the new pieces on their defense. And Pete Carroll doesn't want Sean McVay to extend his win streak over Pete Carroll. He doesn't want that.
Well, yeah, I mean, McVay's got it done last December, even when the Rams were struggling. I like the Rams to win this. I like this to be a game where I catch up on you. This would be one of my finest if I had a little graphic
Greg's
there.
Greatest.
Yeah, Greg's greatest because the Seahawks offensive line, I don't expect Russell Wilson to have 4 turnovers every week, but I do think this offensive line is playing worse as the season's going along. They don't have a running game right now that the Rams are really going to respect, and I think that's going to help the Rams defense be really aggressive. I love the Rams in this game. My daughter's going to have her Rams hat. This is a big game in the afternoon. Cynthia, let's hear some more about it.
I mean, I don't want to pick against your daughter. That makes me feel bad. But okay, here's something that will make her happy. DK Metcalf will have less than 76 receiving yards. That will make her happy. And also Cooper Kupp, this one won't make her happy. Cooper Kupp, he's going to have less than 70 receiving yards. So you're going to do one of each. We're going to do less than in both situations for both receivers. But just don't tell her about the Kupp one. Tell her about the DK Metcalf one, and then maybe I can get back on her good side.
Okay, yeah, she's all excited to see a tie in first place in the NFC West. It could be a 3-way tie because the Cardinals, if they win, would tie the Seahawks and the Rams. If the Rams win, the Cardinals are favored at home in this game over the Bills. Some respect there for the Cardinals by 2.5 points. I have the Bills winning on the road. There's definitely a concern because Josh Norman, one of their starting cornerbacks, tested positive for COVID-19. He did not make the trip. 3 other players were put on the COVID-19 list, including another potential replacement for Norman. That would be Levi Wallace. So that's a problem for the Bills defense, but I think the Bills offense gets it done and the Bills win in a high scoring game. What do you think, Cynthia?
I think exactly the same thing as you. I have 28-27. This one is also light that one. Is it lit up? Okay, good. Light that one up. That's one of my finest. And why? Because we've seen Kyler Murray be able to really extend to a deep passing quarterback. He's really developing. You see some stats on him where he's worse under pressure, but last week and by the way, every quarterback is worse under pressure. So when you look to see last week what happened, he had his second deep completion on a pressured pass in his career. So he's starting to kind of be able to recognize the pressures and be able to beat them. And also he's good, he can run, but it's just not going to be enough because Josh Allen, he can do the same thing and he has more pieces to work with. What do you have, Hawk?
I like that. I like that Kyler Murray is thrown under pressure. And for that reason, I'm going with the Cardinals. And it's crazy that I'm the lone one on this because they're favored. But I'll take the pat on the back, and I could definitely use closing the gap against you, Cynthia, and widen my gap against Greg. I think the difference maker is Kyler Murray's ability to run the football and extend those plays. The Bills' defense has played well, but I think Kyler's going to give himself a lot of time. He doesn't take as many sacks as other quarterbacks because he can evade pressure, and I think that will be the difference maker today, and they'll walk away with a W at home. All right, next up, we have the Broncos at the Raiders. Raiders are favored in this one by 4 points. I am going with the Raiders. I think this is a really good football team that is gelling more and more as the season goes on. Specifically, Derek Carr, who's playing the best football of his career, and I don't think a lot of people are talking about it because still a lot of people aren't believers. So these are the games that you want to see from Derek Carr to really show how great he really is against teams that he should be really good against. That'll be the question. Cynthia, what do you got?
I like it. I have Raiders by 4. You'll see 27-23. Make that just a titch closer because we've seen now that Jerry Jeudy is off being questionable and he's on probable. He's going to play. It's not quite official yet, but it's about to be official, like literally any second. So that keeps it a smidge closer. So like a 3-point difference in this one. Why? Because Drew Lock heats up late. You've seen him get better and adjust every single snap. And you kind of see this, the opposite trend for the Raiders. So the Raiders start off really strong and then they kind of taper off. Their fourth quarter has not been where they've had tons of success. But then the opposite is true for Drew Lock and the Broncos. So with Jerry Jeudy in the lineup, and remember Noah Fant, he's the quarterback you want to, or the tight end you want to pick because your guy Albert O, whose last name I cannot say, he's not playing. Greg, what do you have?
Yeah, he is out. I see what you're saying here. You're laying out a scenario where it's kind of a backdoor close game. Not really that close, but the final score ends up being close, 27-24. I have the Raiders winning in this one. If you look at the cast-offs that they've had succeed, like Nelson Aguilar here, making plays down the field. He's got 5 touchdowns and like 17 catches. Devontae Booker is making big plays. When you take guys from other teams and you start making them a lot better on your team, that shows this offense is cooking. They've really done a nice job. They move into the new stadium. It's year 3 of Gruden, and I think they're going to make the playoffs this year. Finally, let's go to the Chargers and the Dolphins. Really excited for this game. Dolphins are favored by a couple points here. I have the Chargers winning in an upset 27-24. Since we last taped, we did find out Joey Bosa's not playing, so that's a bit of a concern for the Chargers. But I think they just have way more talent. Tua is really having to carry this offense. He moved well last week, showed a little athleticism and good pocket movement that I thought was something to be excited about long term. But if you look, he's on his fourth string running back. And they're missing two of their top receivers, including Preston Williams is out for the season. I just think the Chargers have more players. I actually think they get a close win for once. What about you, Cynthia?
I think they have the exact flipped around situation. I have 27-24, but in favor of the home team Dolphins. It's really coming down to the blitz. A lot of games this week are actually blitz quarterback situations. And Tua, he's not going to have to face a ton of the blitz because the Chargers don't do it very often. So because of that, that will allow Tua to have some time to really see what Devontae Parker, who's left, maybe some tricks from some other people, but I think Devontae Parker is the one you want to target for fantasy purposes in this one. So I think it's going to be all about the fact that there's not going to be a ton of pressure on Tua. He's not going to have to do a lot in order to overcome it. And the Dolphins defense, of course, is really good.
I love it. We're on the same page, Cynthia. I'm going with the Dolphins as well. I like Tua's trajectory. He had to do a lot last week, but it was good to see that out of the rookie, especially since the week before, any one of us probably could have played quarterback and walked away with a victory against the Rams. So in this one, I like the fact that Tua is going in the right direction. Herbert has been balling for the Chargers. Like you mentioned, I like Tua to get the edge in this one. And for that reason, I am sticking with the Dolphins. All right, here is a full slate of the games that we didn't get to. We're pretty much aligned here, except for the Bears. Cynthia, what's going on here?
The Bears are going to win this one. A couple reasons why. One, they just switched from Matt Nagy calling the plays to Bill Lazor. Bill Lazor is a more pass-happy situation quarterback. He was in Cincinnati not that long ago, so maybe you can ask some of your guys about that, and we can get an inside scoop for next week. So when it comes to watching the Bears, what's that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, when it comes to watching the Bears figure out this defense, they're missing a ton of pieces on their defense. Their cornerback's not going to be very healthy, also very young. This is a situation in prime time. I think that the coaching staff is playing for their jobs. So they're going to sit there and figure this one out. No David Montgomery. Okay, just keep an eye on that. But that's the only thing. Bears win.
I don't mind having a little Kirk Cousins in prime time here. I do notice, though, by the way, usually we go through each game, but we've been honking too long each week, and the Masters is on right now. So I see what you're doing, producers, trying to get this show over.
We see you, Tanton. We see you, Tanton.
We see you. That's right. We're getting this show on the road. More Game Day View presented by Mercedes-Benz when we come back in a moment.
Guess what? My foam fingers don't mess up the camera today, so they are back and being annoying in your face. Okay. First game, Chargers at Dolphins. More or less than 48. That's 8 points. More or less. More or less.
Sorry.
Oh,
More.
we all agree.
Wait, you got to go against these rookie quarterbacks, Justin Herbert, lighting it up? That's rooting against fun. We're going to see some offense.
Ain't nobody want to root against fun. Nobody wants to root against fun. Okay. So next one, Broncos at Raiders. More or less than 51 points. I'm going to be extra annoying because, these on Friday, I didn't get to do it. Hawk, what do you have?
I'm going less because Baby Hawk said so. He said he doesn't think Drew Lock is going to come out the gates balling the way he has a couple other weeks. I think this is a down week for Drew Lock, which means less than 51 points.
Can you ask Baby Hawk about Derek Carr? Because I'm playing him in fantasy. So let me know after the show what he thinks on that, because that's my pick. I have to do it. All right, next question. Bills at Cardinals. More or less than 56 points. More or less. 56 is quite a few. Oh,
it is,
my goodness.
Why are you below? These are two great offenses.
Have you heard of this? Have you heard of, Buda Baker? And then also there's a lot of pressure from that Bills front. I think this one, I'm not saying it's a lot less. I have 55 points in this one, 28 to 27, so it's 55. So it's not that much less. Greg, why do you think more?
It's indoors. It's two spread them out offenses. I think they could be both over 30. We go to get over 60 in that one.
Fine. If it's, then we'll have to maybe think about a sombrero for that one. Anyways, okay. Next up, Seahawks at Rams. More or less than 55 points. The Seahawks, Rams. Oh my goodness. All right, Hawk, why are you more?
I'm going more. I don't have the analytics or data. I don't have the scores like you guys do every week. I don't know how many games the Seahawks have even played this year. In a game they've had less than 55 points.
True.
I think they air it out. Let's go. More than 55.
Not many.
That is the most perfect analysis. Nothing can follow that one. We have to move on. All right, last one. Bucks at Panthers. More or less than 51 points. 51 points.
The Bucks are like a great defense, but only in like 2020 standards. They still give up 20, 35, 30 points some weeks. And I think the Bucks offense, you guys said it, Tom Brady is going to have a nice day today.
I'm with you. Why do you have less, Hawk?
Because my 8-year-old son told me to, and again, more or less is not brought to you by analytics.
I want more of Baby Hawk. I want more Baby Hawk.
More or less Baby Hawk, more. We'll take it. That does it for today's game debut. Everyone enjoy Sunday's slate of games. We're back on Friday. Same time, same place. Peace.